Hello, everyone. After what I've heard before the break, the pressure is definitely on, and I'm not sure if I should even start, but I will. So, let's see. Let's start with this. When I was a little girl, I used to close my eyes and believe that nobody could see me. And of course, I used to get caught all the time when we were playing hide and seek. I'm sure you did that too. But as I got a little older and became more self-aware, there were many moments in my childhood where I would have liked to be invisible. I would have liked to disappear in a hole. I had a very challenging childhood because I was born on a cold winter day. Sounds better when I say it like that. To a 16-year-old mother who had no idea what to do with me. So she was going to give me up for adoption, but I had a good grandpa and he took me home. So I grew up with my grandparents, and as a small child, all you really need is to be fed and to be looked after, and you need love. And I had that in my young years. I cannot remember any that I wasn't feeling well or feeling uncomfortable. But the problem started when I went to school. Children are cruel. And I was bullied at school. I was bullied at school not only by other kids, but by teachers as well. And I think in today's world, if this happened today, I don't know what would happen to them, to those teachers. But then nobody did anything about it. And my other problem, or our other problem was, and this sounds a bit weird coming from Switzerland, we had no money. There was never anybody paying something for me. I wanted to go to ski camp, no money. I wanted to go to summer camp, nobody was going to pay. I wanted to learn an instrument, no. So I realized very young that financial freedom is very important. And if you want to tell me that money is not important, I will give you my bank account and you can send me yours, because it is important. You don't have to have millions. You don't have to have lots and lots of money. But you need money to live a comfortable life, and money is freedom. So when my friends went to ski camp and to summer camp, when I was about 13, because when I was 10, my grandfather passed away. So I was literally left alone with my grandmother, who was a lovely woman, but she couldn't guide me. She was a very simple woman, never knew how to drive. She was loving, but I was practically on my own. So when the others went to camp, I went to work. I started working when I was 13. I cleared tables in a ski lodge and got a ski pass, of course, spent the time skiing when I wasn't working. And in the summer, I worked in a hotel and cleaned rooms. And when I was 16, I had enough money to go for a week to London, and I was on a plane for the first time. And I think that's when I sold my soul to traveling. That's when I became the travel addict that I am today. And obviously, I was also kind of planning my escape. I did not want to stay where I was born. I didn't like the place. I wasn't included. I always sort of was left out, and I thought this is not where I want to be. So the money that I earned from my working, I used to learn languages, and I knew that I would either want to become a flight attendant or a tour guide, because I'm talking about the late 70s. There weren't so many opportunities to go abroad like there are now. You needed a work permit in every European country. There was no European Union. So when I was 19 and a half, I had finished a commercial apprenticeship, and I was fluent in 4 languages, which I had financed myself. And thank you. But I was too young to work for the Swiss tour operator, but I was stubborn and feisty. And I put an ad in a Swiss magazine. I mean, imagine. No Facebook, no social media, nothing. I put an ad in a Swiss women's magazine, and I wrote, I want to become a tour guide, can somebody help me? And I found a job in Rhodes. My first summer was in Rhodos in Greece. And I worked for peanuts. I mean, this guy took full advantage of us. But my dream had come true. I was a tour guide and I was abroad and I was far away from where I wanted to be. So that was the beginning of a very gorgeous 11 years. For 11 years, I was all over the place, every summer, every winter, somewhere else. I came to Cyprus the first time in 1982 and immediately loved it here after I had been to Greece. I was in Asia, everywhere in Australia, and I spent quite a lot of time in the US. And the thing is, though, and I think this is a bit of wisdom that I found out later, it doesn't matter how far away you go, your problem comes with you. And my problem was low self-esteem, not being wanted. Basically, you shouldn't exist, like that. You'll never achieve, you'll never amount to anything. So even though I was gorgeous and I was young and blonde and long-legged, I still had this core wound in me. So this is me having a lobster in Puerto Rico. I numbed my pain with lobsters in Puerto Rico and margaritas in Mexico and Gucci bags in Los Angeles. But the problem was still there until one day I was doing a Florida round trip and I took my people after we visited the Edison Museum in Fort Myers. I took them to the Edison Mall and I walked into a bookshop and I picked up a book, and I'm talking about 1989. It wasn't a time when there were so many personal development books. There weren't many at all. And I picked up the book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. And I went to the hotel, to Marco Island, dropped off my tour group, and I went to my room, and I started reading. And I read and read and read, and I couldn't stop reading because I didn't know that I had a subconscious mind. I didn't know what a subconscious mind is. I didn't know how programmable the subconscious mind is, and that 95% of everything we do is driven by the subconscious mind. And in there are our values, our beliefs, all our past memories. And my beliefs were, you're not worth anything, you're not good enough, you're this and that. And that's when the first seed was planted. And shortly after, very, very funny enough, again, there's no coincidence, we all know that. I was working out of Los Angeles. I was staying in one of those crabby holiday inns near LAX airport. And I had 2 days off because I was waiting for the tour group. And I was walking around the hotel, didn't know what to do because didn't want to go sightseeing. Sightseeing was my job. And I saw this announcement. It said public speaking seminar. And I thought, public speaking, that's what I do. I could attend this. I could spend the day. So I went to this seminar. And I always say that up until today, I don't even know if I paid for this seminar, but I participated. And the seminar was delivered by a freak in a pair of shorts and a yellow T-shirt, and his name was Tony Robbins. And I bought his book. His book, Unlimited Power, had just come out. And I wish I could tell him one day what he did to me, because after The Power of Your Subconscious Mind and Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins, I learned how to set goals, because Tony taught me that setting goals makes the invisible become visible. How does that work? If we don't set goals, how are we going to recognize opportunities? If we set goals, we will find opportunities all the time. There is a place in our brain, in our prefrontal cortex, which is called the reticular activating system, and that's what filters out what is important to us or not. If, for example, you are planning to buy a new car and you are thinking of buying I don't know, a Range Rover. I bet you will notice every single Range Rover that you see in the road. So if your subconscious mind or your RAS is filled with doubt and with fear and with whatever bad, low vibrational emotions, that's what you will attract. And I knew that, I found out then that this feeling of shame, which was not even my fault, but I had so much shame, and shame is actually the lowest frequency you can be on. So that was the day, or the time, more or less the time, not the day, but that was the period in my life when I moved from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. And I decided that I was worthy. I was worthy of being loved. I was worthy of achieving things. And lots of things changed for me. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit. What happened? Oh, a little bit here. It's not working, but it's a good picture though. We can look at It's a big lobster too. And the pina colada. Okay, so I was worthy of love, and I was worthy of setting goals, and I was worthy of everything I wanted, and so are you. And you have the possibility, you have the power to create the life you love. I married somebody that I had known for a long time, but didn't feel worthy before. I have 2 beautiful children, and I started manifesting more and more. When my kids were about, 6, 7 years old, or my daughter was 8 and my son was 6.5, I had been so good. I had been home, and it was hard for me, the travel addict, to look after those kids, but I did. But then I set a goal. I want to get paid for traveling. And guess what? I was translating at the Cyprus police, and one day this guy comes to me in Limassol and he said, I'm the president of the Cyprus Police Association, and I always go to a conference twice a year. Would you want to come and translate for us? And I said, yes, because another thing that's very important, some opportunities only happen once. Always say yes. You can think about it afterwards. But once you say no, it's done. They will not come back. So that was the beginning of 17 years of working for the Cyprus police. I traveled even to Las Vegas because I moved on to the European Police Association and translated for them, and had a fantastic time, and was a badass translator walking. I think this sort of shows the development from the little girl who nobody wanted to this bitch. And I'm a good bitch, let's put it. So that's more or less what I wanted to share with you. Of course, there's a lot more. I then started... I nearly forgot. When in 2013, my mother died. My mother had never introduced me as her daughter. My mother always, all her life, introduced me as her sister, because I grew up with my grandparents. And I was protecting her all these years until she passed away. And then I started telling my story. Not even my kids knew that she was their grandmother. And she left me some money. So with that money that I inherited from my birth mother, I went to Dubai. I became a master life coach, and I started doing more and more motivational speaking. I joined the Global Woman Club because their concept is, if you want to empower a woman, give her a microphone, because I love this. I love being on stage. I love talking on stage, and I love inspiring people to create a good life. And I took the Global Woman Club to Cyprus. This is the 3rd anniversary of the Global Woman Club Cyprus. After 4 years, I handed over to the beautiful Christina Aristidou. I don't know where she is. There she is. Because 4 years was enough. I had gotten what I wanted. I had had the opportunity to speak on stages all over the world. And here I am. One of the reasons why I am on this stage is because I did a lot of public speaking for the Global Women Club or other events. And I want to leave you with 3 things. The first one is never allow your past to define your future. Whatever happened in the past, learn from it and move on. Don't keep it. And the second thing is just always be kind. Kindness is, you never know what goes on in somebody's life. You have no idea what happens. And the third is, make gratitude your superpower. Thank you.
Yeah, 1, 2.